Okay. So I'm going to get started. If you guys find that your computer is really lagging right now, you can always get back on. I am going to post this lesson on my YouTube channel. To find my YouTube channel, just type in Erin Weir into YouTube and it should come up. And then the date today will be on the upload. This video should be up around 4 o'clock, but most of you guys won't have to watch this because you're here and you can listen. Okay, so our project we started yesterday, it's going to be due Friday. I don't need any submissions until Friday. You don't need to worry about that. But I am going to suggest and tell you guys, please do not work ahead. Every single day, I'm going to introduce something new. I'm going to tell you where you should be working on your project. And then once you're done with that, stop for the day. Don't move on because the next day I'll introduce the next step. If you don't know what the next step is, then you can't work ahead. So just make sure you're only doing what I suggest in class. This goes against what I normally say, which is working ahead is fine, but for this project, it is not okay. Today, we're going to design one of the squares that we have made into a very specific way, and I'm going to go over that in just a second. But a little quick review. Our lesson is about pop art. This is a movement in modern art, all about advertisements and popular culture. We looked at the artist Andy Warhol, who was born in Pittsburgh and has a lot of his artwork in museums there. Pittsburgh is about 5.5 hours away from here, so it is quite local. He's known for his large prints that have a repetitive object. But yesterday I said we would talk about why people made pop art, so that is what we're going to do for a second. Pop art happened in the 1950s, right after World War II, and because it was after a war, society started to boom. There was a lot of commercialism, meaning there was commercials for like one of the first times ever, and graphic design played a huge role in commercialism. The better your graphic design is, your art is behind the advertisement, the more you're going to sell. So it was also at the same time the start of celebrity culture. We have huge celebrity culture in our lives right now, but only during pop art, this is when it started. So the draw towards pop art, what made it so popular? Why would artists want to make it? Well, one, it's fun, but also two, it's super low cost. It's like your advertisements on a shelf. You can buy a Campbell soup can that was designed by this famous artist, and it is incredibly affordable. It's also very cheap to make too, and very cheap to produce in large quantities. It was about young and hip things. Sometimes it was even funny and witty, and it represented a world that people knew and understand. So sometimes art is not about a world that you can understand, and that's just how the art world works. But these pop artists said that doesn't have to be so. Andy Warhol said everything is art. Everything can be art, even if the critics don't like that he said that. All right, so that's why making pop art was a thing. Now this week we started our design. Yesterday you will have made a square and then divided that into two more squares. Then inside of each square you repeated one shape. If you didn't do that, or if you made your shape super small instead of big and filling the whole square, today you can go back and fix any of that. You want to make sure your lines are straight, you have good craftsmanship, you followed all the steps, and then once you're at that point and you're sure you have done everything you needed to do, then you can start filling in this first top left square. But let me show you what you're going to fill it in with. You're going to fill it in with the element of art that's called line and the principle of art that's called rhythm. A little bit about the elements and principles. The elements right here, these are like your ingredients. You can use any combination of these to make any single artwork. So without line, you have no shape. Without color, you have no color in your artwork. But you can use any combination of this and you can get a piece of artwork, right? But then how you arrange your lines, your shapes, your colors, this is what you get when you have your principles. So say you repeat lines over and over and over again, you get pattern. Or you repeat them in similar but a little bit different ways, you get rhythm. So this is what we're going to use as a jumping off point for our first square. So line and rhythm is what I want you guys to think about. And here's what we're doing. In this first top left square, you are creating your own design. You're filling just this square with line and rhythm. So any lines that you want, any design you want using lines. And then rhythm just means the lines are repeated, but there are different lines happening through the whole area. So you see the swirly lines, you see the wavy lines, the grid lines, the vertical lines, horizontal, diagonal, whatever you want to call them. That's all you want to do for the first square. You don't have to make it look exactly like mine. Make your own design, have fun with it, but the only requirements for this square, whether you fill in just the background or just the dog or both, you need to have line and rhythm. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, I'll re-explain. Stop once you get done with this. You don't have to submit anything. And then the next 2 days after this, we'll do the other squares with other elements and principles. So quick review. Today, you're going to clean up your lines. You're going to fill only one square with the following elements, line and rhythm. You guys are going to ignore this. That doesn't apply to your class. And then my last thing here is just don't work ahead. You're going to save yourself a lot of grief. If you have colored pencils, if you have markers, you can